Welcome to the Western Hunter Podcast. I'm Chris Denham, your host. The Western Hunter Podcast is brought to you by Browning, the best there is. No other firearms company has changed the course of American history quite like Browning. In 1855, John Moses Browning was born in Ogden, Utah, not far from the current headquarters. At the age of 14, he built a slide-action rifle out of spare parts for his brother's birthday. By the age of 24, he was awarded his first U.S. patent for the single-shot rifle. Browning's inventions included rifles like the Winchester 1885, the 1886, 1890, as well as the 1894 and the 1895. Those models are often referred to as the guns that won the West. His Colt 1895 machine gun effectively ended the Spanish-American War. Then came the 1911 485 ACP, the most famous pistol in American history. And let's not forget the BAR and the 50 caliber Browning machine gun. This list is a small fraction of John Browning's contributions to the firearms industry. This spirit of innovation with intention is alive and well to this day inside the headquarters in Morgan, Utah. Just take a look at the current line of X-Bolt rifles, A5 shotguns, and the incredible lineup of over and under shotguns. But Browning is a lot more than just guns. They have an outstanding line of safes, flashlights, knives, ammunition, shooting accessories, and clothing, including the Hell's Canyon Speed line that Nate Simmons and I have been wearing for the past 6 years. Do yourself a favor and go to Browning.com and get lost in some of the most advanced outdoor gear available. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is Chris Denham with Western Hunter Magazine, Western Hunter Podcast, and Western Hunter TV. Today's podcast, I sit down with Steve Speck, the CEO and owner of Exo Mtn Gear. You'll hear kind of a long history. Honestly, this podcast has been 10 years in the making. I mean, it seems like we should have done this a long time ago, and it seems like we should have done it multiple times since then. But it's the first time we had a chance to really sit down and talk about Exo Mtn Gear and the evolution, how it came about. And honestly, it's an amazing story to me. I've followed Steve through all of his professional career, from solid broadheads we talk about in the podcast. First time I met Steve, I still remember vividly him handing me that broadhead and how freaking gorgeous it was. So it might be weird to say about a broadhead, but it was, at the time, it was just a special looking piece of equipment. And it was just for such a small product, it was indication, honestly, of Steve's his mental state in product development, that things need to be right, and they need to be simple. And that kind of defines Exo Mtn Gear and their packs. I mean, they're not built for hype. They're built for hunters. You don't get, it's not like there's a ton of pockets and all this, fancy gadgetry and all kinds of different specifications. They're just simple packs, extremely well made in America, that will carry your gear in and then put more gear on your back in the form of meat and get you back out. Nate and I and Mark started using the Exo packs in the 2024 season, and just absolutely just love the pack. I mean, it's the thing I love about it is going in with a relatively light load, whether you're backpacking or day hunting, and then being able to load up with meat on your back and get out with the same comfort level. It really was it was kind of an eye opener on how a well-built, well-fitted pack, how much different it can carry and how much better it can carry. That's the thing about Exo packs, is they're built to carry the weight. Again, super tough, made here in the United States. With those of us at Western Hunter, we couldn't be more proud of this partnership and more excited about just being able to grow the brands, work together. It's a passion of mine, honestly, that American-made products get more attention. I know that you can buy less expensive stuff from overseas, but man, I just believe in the Made in America process. It's critical that we develop technology and systems in the United States that can compete with offshore products where labor is 1/10 of what it costs here. Steve's done that with Exo Mtn Gear and his team. They do an amazing job. Also, we talk about it in the podcast too, but listen to their podcast. It's about the only podcast I actually listen to like regularly. I mean, I cherry pick podcasts when I hear people tell me about a particular episode, but when a new episode pops up of their podcast, that's the first thing I'm going to tune into. But anyways, hope you enjoy. We're certainly looking forward to the relationship with Exo. and working together for many years to come. Thanks again for listening. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Western Hunter Podcast. I'm here with Steve Speck from Exo Mtn Gear. We're in, it's technically Meridian, Idaho, right?
Correct. Yep.
Meridian, Idaho, just on the outskirts of Boise. We came up, we're going to hang out. We got to tour the factories yesterday, their warehouse, and tomorrow we're playing golf. We got the fundraising golf tournament, playing golf and heading home on Saturday. But Steve and I decided let's take some time and we're going to do a podcast. And I know many of you probably listen to Hunt Backcountry podcast, which it's the only one it's in my top left corner of my podcast. So I just know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But so a bunch of you I'm sure have listened to the podcast, but today I want to know some of the origin story. We got into it a little bit yesterday, but I want to get into the origin story of not just Exo Mtn Gear, but Steve Speck in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure even a lot of you that listen to every single episode of Steve's podcast probably either don't remember this or we're going to talk about something you never heard before.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of it, I don't go out of my way to talk about my backstory.
Right.
So a lot of it we haven't covered before.
Yeah. Well, good. Let's get started. So the current situation is you own Exo Mtn Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Exo, good Lord, I'm sure you all know, makes some of the finest packs in the hunting space, and specifically the hunting space, which actually is a question I had yesterday about it. Is that, do you get any backpackers?
Oh yeah.
Really?
We just in the last week we had Japan, Norway, and Iceland. Three different orders, and I personally emailed the people hey, what are you doing with the packs? I want to know. And the guy in Japan was researching packs, and he's climbing Mount Fuji this summer. Wanted a pack that was able to haul the weight he needed to haul up there. He's not hunting at all. The guy in Iceland, same story, doesn't hunt, but wanted it for backpacking excursion trips.
Yeah.
And then the guy in Norway, it wants to get into hunting.
Yeah.
So, but we definitely, it's not something we market to or target at all, but people are figuring out oh man, these things haul weight really, really well and do exceptional for the application they need, which isn't, in their world wouldn't be ultralight backpacking. It'd be, for whatever reason, I've got 50 pounds of gear I got to haul on this trip. Yeah.
Well, my wife would kill me if I didn't ask her. Are you ever going to make cute colors for? She sees my pack and she has an Osprey. She hates it. She has a love-hate relationship with this pack. We do a lot of backpacking, and I'm like, babe, you need a different pack. You need to get an Exo. And she's like, but it's not pretty. I don't like the color. And I'm like, really, babe? It's form, function over aesthetics. And she's like, nope, I'm not doing it. So
interesting.
No, you're not going to do a.
So we do have the EXS frame, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know that exists. So it's a K4 made for women, right? So the harness is redesigned. And a few other little things that fit women very, very well. But yeah, it's just a K4 with some modifications to it. So you're limited to Coyote Brown, Ranger Green.
Dang. All right. If I brought my own material in, we could make a custom pink. She would probably even go with the pink.
You got to see the sew shop yesterday and how cool that is. And the ability we can do some easy stuff like that.
Yeah. So I got us completely off track right from the start, but let's go back. Because I first met you.
Yeah, when did we first meet?
I honestly think I remember exactly when it was at the ATA show in Indianapolis. I was with Anthony Dixon. Okay. And Anthony introduced us. And I think it's right when you came out with Solid Broadhead. Okay. I think that's when that you were just coming out with that. Because it's funny how I'm like, I can't remember exactly how to get to our Airbnb, though I've done it twice in the last 24 hours. I still remember we were standing out in front of Elite Bow's booth, and you were right in that whole process with the broadhead, I think, at the time. But I still remember him introducing us, and Anthony saying, "You got to meet this guy, and you got to see this broadhead," which I still think like we said yesterday, I still think it's the sexiest broadhead ever made. Yeah. But your origin, so that was, oh my gosh, that would have been early 2000s.
No, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it would have been, especially the ATA show with Anthony. Yeah, it would have been, and that's probably like 15 years ago. Yeah,
long time.
Yeah, it's a long time for you. It's just not that long ago for me. That's why I probably thought it was further back, because it just doesn't seem like it seems like it was yesterday. Yeah, but where did you get your start? Like, what brought you start in the industry?
one of the guy I'm golfing with tomorrow, one of my best friends since sophomore year of high school, was a bow hunter. I grew up hunting very traditional. Like we go out, we went out like 1 weekend a year.
Yeah.
And wore blue jeans. We never killed anything.
Right.
And, I have 2 older brothers and then my dad, and we'd maybe kill 1 deer or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was hunting, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And then when I was 18, but my mind is always like looking for improvement, efficiency. Like, I think this could be done better, but I was just, I'm like 12 years old, just tagging along with my dad and brothers. And then by the time I was 18, I don't think I maybe killed like a couple deer. Like I hadn't killed a lot of animals. And then I met my buddy Keith. I guess that would have been 17 or 18, somewhere like there.
Yeah.
And he was a hardcore bow hunter, like bow hunted every weekend, all September. And I went over to his house, shot, grabbed his bow, first time I'd ever shot a bow. And we put up against his dad's barn, put a block target out there and shot and just completely missed the target for like 10 yards. Yeah. Arrow goes into the shop, like bounces off all the tools. We're like, oh crap, his dad's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked. The next day I was at the local archery shop and bought a bow. And then from 18, I was just consumed with archery. Just from
that was here in Idaho, right?
Yeah, here in Boise. Yeah. So from like 18 to 20, I'm just shooting 7 days a week, super obsessed with everything. But then quickly started realizing, like going to the local archery shops, they just couldn't provide the information. Like I'm reading about stuff online that's technical and wanting to learn more. And I go to the archery shop and they're definitely behind the times.
All right.
So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta have to figure out how to do this myself. So I bought a bow press, started working on bows, and then got pretty good at it pretty quick. Probably within a year, I'm like, back then I was taking elite bows and like literally tearing them apart and rebuilding them, like mismatching limbs and cams and doing my own strings. And we got really, really into it. And then started catching on of like, hey, can you tune my bow? Can you tune my bow? And then, I'm 21 at this time.
Yeah.
I think I just bought a townhome, turned my garage into an archery shop, and then started at like 19. So I grew up a little bit, go back here. I grew up in a construction family. Mm-hmm. My dad and brother owned a metal building company that makes like a metal building that we're standing in now. And I had started up when we had people would reach out for small projects like, oh, we need a window installed in our metal building that's 10 years old. And my dad, they were just too busy. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I start up my own little company and do this on the side? So I started up SS Builders when I was 19, I think.
Really?
And I had a crew of like 4 guys working for me. I'd go run to the job site at like 5 a.m., meet them, get them lined out, and then be at the office by 8 and work my regular job. And Idaho's super easy state to do business in. So when I was, now I'm like 21, like I'm going to do an archery shop. So went down, filed SS Builders doing business as DBA SNS Archery. And then I started just selling. I think we were talking about this yesterday. Started selling on Archery Talk.
All right.
Selling arrows and just whatever the heck I could get my hands on.
And you're shipping probably. You were shipping.
Oh yeah, God, shipping back then was so crude. Like I literally, like manually entering in addresses into USPS and then taking packages every single day down to the post office. And man, there's a lot of things like I was way behind. Like there was way better ways to do it even back then. But I just like, oh, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
And that just slowly evolved into, I was making enough money from that, and then this is 2008. So the construction industry in Boise just died. And basically I was like, well, I got to find a new job. So I was just like, I got this kind of side gig going. I'm just going to make it go full send. And then that's 18 years ago now. And a lot has happened in the last 18 years for me, for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. From SNS, then when did the solid broadhead come along?
So I had SNS Archery, and then 2009 or 10, I met the guy Lenny that I founded Exo Mtn Gear with, and I was watching hunting films at the time, and just like, man, I think no one's capturing like backpack hunting the way I want to see it.
Right.
I'm watching Outdoor Channel, and a lot of it's just kind of truth series stuff, right? Like very like private land, canned hunts. And it's like, man, I'm just getting into backpack hunting. This stuff's really cool. I want to film this. I had no idea what I was doing. I literally just never hit record on a camera before. And I met Lenny, and I was like, hey, I want to make hunts. You want to do this with me? I want to film our hunts. And yeah, sure. And we never hunted together. We just met I'd met him because we were working on bows. He needed a bow fixed, and I did it. And then we ended up having a lot in common. He was backpacking by himself. And we were both kind of like wanting to backpack so bad we're doing it by ourselves, but hated backpacking by yourself.
Right.
Like, it's a unique experience, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we started Pure Elevation Productions, which that's kind of how we started that and started making DVDs. Cody from Born and Raised, I've known him since all the way back then. And he was a great influence on me just when I had questions and things like that. And then we started basically Elite Archery. I had already had a kind of relationship because we were shooting their bows. And then they reached out and said, hey, we're doing a TV show. Do you want to be on our TV show? So we started doing that for a couple of years. And then around that time, so I want to say 11 or 12 is when I started Solid Broadheads. And that was just, again, like my brain looking at in Idaho, we were a fixed broadhead only state.
Right.
And just looking at all the broadheads, like these all, like every single one of these I can pick apart.
Right.
Like this one's got this feature I like, but these other 3 things I hate about it. And I was just very critical of stuff. And I was like, I think I can make a better broadhead. And then got connected with a machine shop here in town. And like that was like January, and I sold the first ones in like June or July. It happened so fast.
Yeah,
like the
fast.
Design was just kind of still to this day. It's how I do stuff. Like sketch it on a napkin, hand it over. Like, hey, make this for me, and we make it. And it's like, oh, so
how much did they sell that for back then?
So they were expensive. So I used S30V steel, which 2011. I mean, that's like it's still premium steel to this day.
To this day, yeah.
And back then it was like the tip of the spear premium steel. That came from I had like it's either a Kershaw or a Gerber knife, Gerber Freeman. That's what it was. Made out of S30V, and I was like cutting up an elk. And I got done cutting up a whole elk, and like this thing's still sharp. This is light years ahead of the $10 buck knife I had before.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna make a broadhead out of that steel, and that's how that happened. And I think I sold them for $75.
Yeah.
Which you said you remember me handing you one. Like,
right.
I had no money.
Yeah.
I'm making like $20,000 a year or something like that. Like,
so $75 for a 3-pack.
Yeah. $75 for a 3-pack.
And that's back when $25 a broadhead was, I mean, most of us were paying what, $4?
Yeah.
I mean, like $20 for a 6-pack was a pretty average price. Yep. Yeah.
It was out there. But the quality was there. And I remember we did this cool metal box that we etched Solid Broadhead Company. We had a really cool logo we came up with, and then I handed one to you in a box, and you said you still have it to this day, which is pretty cool.
Still just this. I mean, you just open it up and you go, oh my God, that will kill. It was a piece of art, especially in a time when everything was just pressed and cut. Probably almost everything made in overseas too, which probably to this day most are still made overseas. But it was so then Solid, you sold that.
So I had that relationship with the owner Pete of Elite Archery, and basically the second I launched it, he was like, hey, we're kind of interested in that. And I'm 20, I'm early 20s, and like just green and naive, and that sounds great. Like you guys buy it from me, I'll kind of run it, and I'm supposed to get a royalty. And I don't even know if I would say a regret, because I don't like having that negative attitude. It's just like everything, whether the outcome was good or bad, I just take the good from it and learned and how to apply it into the next business. So if I hadn't have made that mistake, maybe Exo wouldn't be where it was today.
Absolutely.
Because I learned from it. So then before Solid, though, was when I started the Northwest Mountain Challenge. So that Anthony Dixon, it's kind of funny because they did Bowcast at the Bird.
Right.
And they like for 2 years, like the first year they launched it, I'd been talking to our local ski resort, Bogus Basin, and like trying to get like, hey, I want to do this archery shoot. Same thing, like going to archery shoots. Like these are not fun. Like, every target's 20 yards, 22, 27, 30 yards, like just flat, very easy. And I was like, I'm doing more than this. When I'm taking a 3D target and I'm shooting 70, 80, 90 yards and trying to stretch my capabilities and get better. And these archery shoots aren't making me better. So I was like, I want to do an archery shoot, and it fit in. I'm doing SNS archery. It's like great marketing. And finally, I want to say we went to Bowcast at the Bird. Gosh, that was 2010, I think.
I was there.
Yeah.
I had a wilderness athlete table, a table.
I think I remember that. So was that 10? Yeah.
It probably was.
I remember having a T-shirt that said 2000. I swear it's like Bowcast at the Bird in 2010.
It was blue with yellow writing. It was like a technical like technical fabric.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the second year that I was there.
Okay.
But
anyways, we had gone to that shoot, and I was like, this is amazing. It's down in Utah. It's like, I've been trying to do this for 2 years. I emailed the ski resort here. I can't remember the guy's name I worked with. Anyways, like, hey, this shoot in Utah exists. And for him to see a sample of like, oh, this can be done. And it was done at a premium ski resort where Bogus Basin's kind of a lower end, no, not high high end resort
Yeah.
at all. And I think that finally was like, okay, we'll let you do it. And then I ended up partnering with TJ from Dead on Archery here in town, because I was like, this is more than I can do. And we did it first year, called it the Bogus Challenge. And we did it up there for 2 years, and then moved it up, renamed it the Northwest Mountain Challenge, because they wanted to make it TJ. And then we brought another guy, Tyler Crockett. They wanted to make it bigger, like go to like do Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. So we renamed it Northwest Mountain Challenge, did it at Tamarack, and it's still to this day going.
Right.
I stepped away from it probably 2019 when Exo launched in 2014. Right. It was just so bananas. I was like, I don't have time for this, guys. I'm sorry, I can't be a part of it anymore. So I just basically like, here you go, and walked away. And then I helped set up the course for a couple of years, but it had nothing to do with anything.
I remember the Tamarack one. At
Tamarack,
you
guys were up there.
Yeah, we went that 1 year, and in fact, Mark and I it's still one of our craziest. Is Mark and Kevin and I. Now Mark's my son. Now Kevin isn't now my son-in-law. We you guys had record high temperatures that weekend.
Yeah.
And we had this beautiful mountain lodge home that was absolutely amazing, but no air conditioning. And it was like 95 during the day. It was in that poor house. That house just would not cool down at night. We had every window open. We had everything was perfect, except we couldn't enjoy it. It was just so dang hot. Yeah. But I
remember that year, because I was in charge of drinks, and it was literally, I would like go, there was like 6 coolers out on the courses, and it was just in a repeat.
Yeah, I bet.
Like the year prior, we filled up the coolers in the morning and didn't do it again till the next day.
Yeah.
And that whole day was just like running around. We were sending people to town to get more water. That was
Train
really
to Hunt did this course that year there, and I don't know how people didn't die. It was brutal.
Train to Hunt's first event was at the Bogus Challenge. So we did that in 2012, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. The first year that happened. So the very first Train to Hunt was Dan Staten and
Kenton Claremont.
Kenton. Yep. They were doing it together that first year or two, and they I'd known Dan, and they reached out and said, hey, we want to do this event, and gosh, this is fun to relive all these things. I haven't thought about this stuff in a long time.
And you think about the relationships that came out of all those.
Man. We were
you go back to like even the Bowcaster the Bird. That was the first time I met Kendall Card, Kendall didn't, I think he had started Camo Fire at that point, but he didn't have it. Crispy was not even in his vision.
Yeah.
Just the industry people that I've known, we meet at doing things like that. And then 10 years later, you're like, holy cow, look at, there's
what's coming,
what we're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I know, Tyler Boschman. You met him through Train to Hunt, right?
Yep.
So Tyler's one of my best friends. And then we were talking about that the other day. Like, man, I feel like 10 to 15 years ago, there's a lot of, I don't know, there's just a lot of cool stuff going on. And we were like debating, like, is that still happening? And we're just too old that we're not a part of it? Or is it not happening?
I ask myself that all the time, because everything I'm doing in this industry is a result of relationships that got built, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, now my son and son-in-law and all the guys in our company are in their 20s. And I don't feel like they're having that same experience, where they're connecting with, a bunch of industry people. And, but then again, you look at it, we're talking 10, 12 years ago, and I'm trying to measure it in months.
Right.
But really it's like decades
of
relationship building I don't know. There are some innovative younger people out there, but I would agree with you guys that there was a time frame there when there was just a lot of cool stuff happening, and Train to Hunt, all the Northwest Mountain Challenge, the evolution of all of the long range archery, everything, that it was happening back then. It's just cool.
Yep. It was a cool time. I mean, we're still there, but I think it's just a little different now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then that evolved into 2012 would have been the Broadheads archery shoots going on, and then 2013 I'd been using Eberly stock packs for a while, and none of them were geared towards backpack hunting.
No,
they just weren't. It was like when I was going scouting, I was using like an REI Gregory style pack, and then when I went hunting, I was like, well, this can't haul weight, so I need to change over, and they just weren't geared for backpack hunting. And I was like, I think this needs to exist, and there wasn't. Like Stone Glacier they were probably very similar timeline as us, as far as like, they weren't out then, or if they were, it was just right. I mean, I think we were out almost the exact same time. Kuya was just starting with their pack line, but it still was, it was just an opportunity that I saw. Like, I didn't feel like there's a lot of competition. Nobody's making a pack specifically for what we were doing here in Idaho, was public land, backpacking in for 2 nights, 3 nights a week, whatever.
Right.
And just like with everything prior, I was just like, I see a need. I see something that needs to be fixed. I'm going to figure out how to go make it happen. And we got connected with the sew shop that you toured yesterday. And basically like said, hey, we want to make a backpack. They never made a backpack. We had never made a backpack. Like, nobody had any clue what they were doing, but we just started. You say, and yes, there's the original prototypes hanging on the wall down here, and it's rough.
It's rough.
It was rough. Yeah. But so that's like 2013. And we, for a year there, I mean, we had full-time jobs. I was running SNS archery, and that was growing like crazy. And we just like at 5 o'clock at night, it's like, okay, time to start working on backpack design. Got my regular work done. And from 5, I was super fortunate that my wife, who we haven't met yet, you'll meet her tonight, actually, at Topgolf. She was in grad school in Forest Grove, Oregon. And so we were engaged, but I was living here by myself. I'd go visit her every other weekend for 4 years. I've made a lot of trips to Portland back and forth.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You drove?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Damn.
Well, I had this like 96 4Runner that got like 7 miles a gallon. It got to the point I would go to the Enterprise rental car in downtown Boise and just rent a car that would get like 40 miles a gallon. Cause I figured out, I was like, even though I had to kind of deal with that hassle, it was cheaper to do that than drive my 4Runner. There was always a headwind going through the canyon over there, and I'd just be like redlining that thing trying to go 65. Yeah.
That was an expensive engagement.
Oh yeah. Anyways, I just had a lot of time on my hands. So I just worked. I worked, and I rode my mountain bike, and I hunted. Yeah. That's what I did for 4 years, like just nonstop. There was one year I remember bear hunting, and I think I had like 37 days bear hunting where I'd take off, because there's some stuff within an hour of Boise you could go hunt. So it's like, all right, 4 o'clock, head out, go hunt till the evening, get home at midnight, and do it all over again.
Being like basically single.
Yeah. It was a great, it was a great time. I mean, I'm very fortunate that time existed, because I was able to do, this is 2010 to 2014. I mean, I did a lot of companies then, and I'm in my early mid 20s at this point. So just started working on backpack design and just chipping away, had some ideas and concepts in mind, and a lot of failures, but just worked.
That's the thing that's amazing me about the story. And I didn't even really put all this together until you started saying it, is that, I've watched the evolution of hunting backpacks for sure through the years. And I've talked to other companies, and I just honestly wrote myself off as like, I could never do this. I don't have the technical skills to design a backpack. Well, neither did you. No, no, you didn't have it. You earned it. You learned it. Yeah. You just dedicated yourself to it. And that's the key to growing innovation and growing a business is never say never. Like I honestly, I feel like that's one of my weaknesses. There's times I look at something, I don't get it, and I don't try. I just move on to something else. Right. Sometimes you just need to figure out how to get it, and you did it.
Yeah. I wonder now if I was trying to start the backpack company now, I don't think I could do it. I don't with kids, and I mean, I'm just busy. I just don't have the time I had back then. Yeah. So, and I maximized it. Jake that works for us, he's young and not married yet. And I'm like, man, you need to be getting after it. Like, enjoy every moment you can. Because obviously kids and everything's amazing, but you'll never get that time.
You'll never get that phase of your life back. And you're so right that people like they get stuck and thinking that's, it's not, being single and being free like that is certainly fun, but it's not life. Yeah. Eventually it needs to come to an end at some point, it needs to come to an end.
Yeah. So we worked hard through 2013, and I mean, just moved fast. And that's one thing that we still have the advantage of to this day, is the ability to prototype very fast and make a lot of progression, quickly, where if you're making stuff overseas, you're, I don't know, 3 to 4 months to get a sample that I can do in 4 hours.
One of my favorite books, and my partner Floyd and I we've read it years ago. I don't remember the author, but it's one of these tiny little pamphlet books, and you'd read it in 2 hours, start to finish. But the title was "The Big Don't Eat the Small, the Fast Eat the Slow."
Oh,
And that was kind of always our motto. And that's
yeah.
exactly what the model you built it on.
Yeah.
You weren't big, but you were fast.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we made a lot of mistakes in 2014. We tried to really overbuild the packs and, putting a lifetime warranty on it and stuff like that. But we had, it only takes like one little mistake. And then on a pack, which, now we take everything extremely seriously. Like the saying of like, we test our gear before we give it to our customers. We take that to the nth degree. Like K4 was designed for 3 solid years before, and it was based off of all the prior generations. So I had a really good starting point, and I still spent 3 years just working on it, perfecting it, and getting it really, really dialed in. But yeah, so 2014 we launched. Obviously, I'd launched a company in solid broadheads. I had this really, thriving SNS archery online e-commerce store. So I knew how to market. We knew how to do videos and edit it. And so kind of all these past experiences combined into making the launch of Exo. I'm not going to say easy, but I had all the tools. Right. It just was the work that needed to be done. And then 14 launched, and then really 14 through 19 was just chaos. Like my kids were born during that time frame, and Exo was just growing at like 300%. I mean, it was just every day was putting out a fire. It's like I stepped away from the Northwest Mountain Challenge. I said, guys, I got so much stress. I can't do all of this. So I got really good at getting very focused and saying no to a lot of opportunities. I just put myself in a bubble. It's like, all right, I got to figure out how to make Exo like run and be this machine that just cranks out packs and did that basically. Just kind of, just said, I always like, I still to this day kind of live in a bubble in the hunting industry. Like talking with you guys last night, like you're aware of so much more going on. I'm just kind of like in my bubble, do my thing. And, when I find great people, I like to work with them, but I don't go out of my way. Yeah. So now, here it is, 2025. Exo's last year was our 10-year anniversary of the company, and just continuing to evolve. It's pretty dang cool.
Here's an origin question.
Yeah.
Where does the Exo come from? What is the
that's
Exo?
So that's Cody Kellum, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we were the original frame we called the skeleton frame, and it was mimicking the thought process, design process was mimicking the human body. So we had like a central spine. So we had this titanium frame that was like 3 inches wide, 2 tubes that ran up, and then basically we had ribs coming off of that to support the frame on the outside. And so it looked like the human skeleton. And I was describing this to Cody, and he's like, "What about exoskeleton?" And I was like, "Exo." Oh, that's pretty cool. And then I Google like, what is Exo? And it means to be outside. Right. And I was like, that's perfect. Yeah. It's describing a frame. It means to be outside. That's what we're all about. Perfect. Interesting. And then Mountain Gear. When we first started, gear was specific. It wasn't Exo Mountain backpacks. It was gear. It's like, we don't know what we'll get into in the future. Right. I think I'd learned that through the Northwest Mountain Challenge. Like we renamed it from Bogus because that was very specific to Bogus Basin. Right. And renamed it something more generic. And so we did gear, but then as Exo just grew and grew and grew, it's like, no, we'll just keep just keep the focus on backpacks. Like this is all like we're doing more than we can handle, and we're good with that.
And that's still what you do. It's still a backpack company.
Just period. Backpacks, period. Yeah. We don't, I'm unique business owner in that I'm not actively trying to grow the company. Like we're to the size where I'm just like, I'm happy. We got 7 employees total here at Exo, like in the warehouse between sales and shipping and at marketing and everything. I got 7 amazing people. They're all fantastic. And I'm not like, I guess like maybe it's a lesson learned from selling solid broadheads. Like the grass isn't greener. Like more money, selling more packs doesn't mean I'm going to be happier. Right. Like we all make really good money here. Everyone's happy. We're trying to keep stress level down. Like we're just in a good place. And it's my biggest challenge in business is like, how do you, you got to be growing or you're dying. But how do I balance that? Like I'm trying to like just fan the flames enough to keep things going without really like blowing it up. And I think that's, Exo, I think is just pretty, let's say, I don't know. In my impression, we're kind of just quiet and under the radar. Like we don't get into all the hype of everything and jump on every bandwagon. We're just kind of like doing our thing. And if people realize who we are and come to us, awesome. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I was really excited to partner with you. In fact, I guess we could make like the official announcement that Western Hunter TV, Nate and I are using Exo packs. We used them all last year, Mark as well. And absolutely love the packs, and you'll see them on Well, actually, about the time this one airs, we'll see the first
Really?
episode
Cool.
is going to be that Oregon hunt. But so many brands out there, I know. You just talk to them, and all they're doing is building to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole goal is to make it as big as they can, as fast as they can, so they can sell it.
Yeah.
Take a whole bunch of money, either retire or go do something else. Well, from my perspective, like for Western Hunter TV, I want long-term relationships.
Right.
I'm not into these overnight quickie deals that so many brands are into. So when you told me that, I'm like, this is perfect. I mean, this is something we can grow with for as long. Everybody asks me when I'm going to retire. I don't know. I mean, what am I going to do when I retire? Go hunt more? I think, I mean, I'm kind of in that mode already, but, be able to, I just think it'd be cool if we do it won't be a podcast. I don't know what the hell the next evolution of outdoor media is, but it probably won't be a podcast. But 10 years from now, we talk about this podcast and what's changed since then.
Yeah.
And there's not many companies in our industry that I feel like there's somebody I could go and say, you know what, I bet you 10 years from now, this person's still going to be essentially at this address. Whether mentally or physically.
Yep. No, it's again, just lessons I learned. I mean, I don't know. Just I'm happy where we're at. I got no desire. I've had the opportunity to sell the company. I've had people approach me, and I could be retired and doing nothing. But my wife's like, "What the hell would you do? Like, you'd be out of your mind." You'd be like, "No, you need to work every day."
I know,
she doesn't want me at the house.
No, that's my wife too. She's like, "No, you need to. You need to get out." But one of the reasons I know you have like phenomenal employees without even knowing, I've got to know the guys, and I get it, is that your business, Exo business, is actually extremely seasonal. I mean, you've got big highs and you've got real lows where people are just not out buying a hunting pack. And probably, I'm guessing like February, March, things are a little quiet around here. But yet when the busy season comes and you're doing 4 and 5 times the volume that you were doing in March, if you place an order that day, that product is probably going to be on a UPS truck going out that afternoon or first thing in the next day.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
From 2019, like while I was designing K4, we were also just a lot of time was putting in processes in place. So where we have a unique structure here. Nobody's anybody's boss. Like I'm barely the boss of everybody. Like in that I don't at all go in and say, "Hey, you need to be doing this." It's just like everybody knows their job. Everybody shows up. Everybody does their job. They go home. They communicate. Because being small, the problem with that is like if 1 or 2 guys is on vacation, like everybody's got to fill in. There's a domino effect there. But everyone communicates well and just does their job. And it's kind of a unique structure. There's just people just show up, do their work. Yeah. And it's just not, one of the things I guess I got better at is just identifying like what I'm good at and not. I like micromanaging day-to-day stuff. No, like I'm great at the marketing big picture. Don't give me an Excel spreadsheet. Like when it comes to taxes and finances, like I hire really good bookkeepers and CPAs to do that stuff because I want nothing to do with it. Like I'm a macro guy and not a fine print guy, not at all. So I found employees that I can macro manage, right? Like just, hey, this is your job. You ship packs, you build packs, you do customer service, and then just let people do it.
Well, that's where the genius is, because it is employees you can trust to do. The other thing I'm impressed with, I meet everybody, is they take ownership here.
Oh yeah.
Like if somebody just came in and walked around here and watched people work all day, they wouldn't. I mean, you do have the corner office. I guess that's the only clue they'd have that you're the boss. Right. Everybody else is just, they're just doing their thing, doing it well.
And we just make a point to be like, I'm the boss. And literally a couple weeks ago, I was cleaning the bathrooms. Like, I have no problem doing that. I like, I actually enjoy like getting off my butt and not sitting at my desk, because the vast majority, even though I design and build backpacks and I hunt and stuff, like 90% of my time is sitting at a desk doing emails. Yeah. That's just what it is. Yeah. And it drives me nuts. Yeah. But it's necessary.
That's the business world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, moving on. So you've grown, Exo's growing like crazy. And then this past year was the big step when you acquired the cut and sew shop.
Yep. Yeah. So that we had been working, so early on this shop here in Boise we used, and then we quickly outgrew them. So by summer of 2015, so within a year and a half, where they just couldn't keep up.
This was a different shop.
No, same shop.
Same shop.
Yeah, but it was much smaller back then.
Oh, okay.
And they still were just, like we talked about yesterday on the sew shop, just finding efficiencies and learning Obviously like Pat that works for us, his whole job is managing raw materials, making sure they're here on time, making sure we got enough we need, make sure we don't got too much, right? And so we early on, that was just chaos. Like we didn't know what we were doing, they didn't know what they were doing. And then we got connected with a sew shop up in Washington that we used for quite a few years, and they were a much, much bigger facility. And they were great, but they were much more, like we had to QC a lot more. They were like, they just knock stuff out and we'd get it back, and there'd be loose threads or, things just weren't perfect and tidy. And then, and that drove me nuts because I've always tried to hold a really high standard for the quality of our product. And the guys in the warehouse hated it because it's like, it takes 22 minutes to build a pack right now. With one of those packs, it was like 30 minutes. It was an extra 8 minutes of just trimming and double checking everything. And we have great processes in place where essentially every piece is QC'd at least 3 times before it gets shipped out. So very few things slip through the cracks. It happens. That's what, if we ever have a warranty issue, it's just some obscure, the bobbin thread on the sewing machine ran out, and nobody can see that. It's only the sewer. And then until you go and like pull on that bar tack, and there's no thread on the back side of it, and just comes right off. So that's about the only things that slip through the cracks, is just something nobody can see. And if the sewer doesn't catch it that second that the bobbin thread ran out, you're SOL. We just kept working with the local place, and they were growing and getting better and better. And then the owner of it was getting kind of close to retirement last year. And the general manager, Levi, who you got to meet yesterday of it, he and I basically got together and said, hey, let's approach Rob, the owner, and see if we can buy this from him. And we did. And he was willing to sell the company to us, and did. And so that was, last year was chaotic because we knew we were going to approach him, but didn't know how that was going to go. Didn't know if he was going to give you the middle finger and say no. And
kind of stain the relationship.
It was like it was just kind of a either or situation. So we really worked hard to make sure that we had like 6 months of inventory here. We had a lot of inventory just in case that went south. But it didn't. It went smooth. And so we took over the sew shop in November and renamed it to High Desert Industrial Sewing. And things are going smooth. It fluctuates a little bit down there just depending on other companies. Exo has, what we've done is really level demand. We produce the same amount of packs every month year round, and that's necessary with USA production for everything to be smooth, for the sew shop to run smooth, for the raw goods materials side to run smooth. So the downside is we get, in the slow months, cash flow gets tighter because we're just sitting on a lot of material here, usually in finished products. But then by the end of August, it all gets wiped out. And then we kind of just this cycle of building. And that's been a challenge, like you said, of figuring out how to navigate that. And we've done, I wouldn't say we're a super like tech heavy company, but we are really data driven. I pay a lot of attention to Google Analytics. We track our sales down to every little thing. Like I was telling you yesterday, we have what internally we just call our variant report, and Pat and I are constantly working on and tweaking and adjusting that. But it's like, all right, if we're going to sell 1,000 packs based off of 10 years of history, we know like down to probably like plus or minus 5 how many small belts we're going to sell. It's crazy. And then the color breakdown, and it gets tricky when we launch a new product because or guessing, but we've got it just keeps getting easier because we've just got so much data to pull from. And we know I've got my own Exo master sheet, which is like tracks every single month of sales for the last 10 years. So I can go like, all right, March, I think we're going to do this. And I go look historically back 10 years and see where it fluctuates. And I make notes if there's kind of like random, COVID stimulus money, March 2020, sold a boatload of packs. And make notes when things are kind of exceptions. But we just have a lot of good data. And it's easier for us because we keep things simple. Right. We don't have unlimited SKUs and things like that. So.
Yeah, kind of the moral of the story, if you haven't picked up the on this yet, too, is that Exo is 100% made in USA.
Yes.
Down to the fabrics, everything. It's all made right. Well, fabric's not made here in Boise, but it's all made in USA. And that's you hear that a lot. People say, it's made in USA, so it's got to be, more expensive. And the reality is Exo packs are a little bit more expensive, but not a lot more than most packs.
Yeah.
But from a quality standpoint, that's what you're getting. You're getting that type of, like you said, just being in Washington, you had troubles with QC. When you go to China, you're going to have, or Asia, just anywhere. But when you're, it's a 2-week boat ride to get that pack, just to get those packs here.
Yeah.
I mean, QC problems are going to happen,
Yeah.
and at some point, as a pack manufacturer, you're kind of doing your R&D on your customer.
Yeah.
You're hoping
Yep.
you ship out a whole bunch of packs and you hope they work.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
We launched K3 in 2019, and I had changed to this like super high end aluminum. And we had tested it for a full year prior. I think we'd built like 100 frames, had no issues. They were performing beautifully. And then we got one, and within the first couple of weeks, the customer sent one in where the corner of the frame broke, and my heart was just like, oh, oh my God, what happened? And then a week later, another one breaks and another one breaks. And that ended up being, by November, it was pretty clear to us, like it was like a 1% of the frames, but it was clear like this is an issue.
Right.
And this could kill us. So we ended up replacing every single frame with titanium. And I think it was, it's like $250,000.
Yeah.
By the time, but we're buying all that material, getting it bent, getting it coated, getting it shipped to the customers. It was a $250,000 freaking kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
But we did it.
And,
and that was, it was the right thing to do. We took care of our customers. And so definitely like going into K4 designs, like, okay, that can't ever happen again.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't care if it's a bar tack or the frame or whatever, like that can't happen again. So we really, really take things serious here on design. So
that's the thing is we're not asking people to buy American-made products just because they're made in the USA, but buy an American-made product because it's better.
Yeah,
it's a better product.
Yeah,
and you're able to compete because of these systems you're talking about. Just nailing your systems down, and being that efficient.
We're really, really efficient. I could say for 100% certainty, like there's not another pack company that's using better materials. That nobody's using better. Some are using similar or like, but not better. And the reason we're not one of the most expensive packs is, well, two things. One, we're incredibly efficient over here. And the other one is we don't spend a lot of money on marketing. I bet you we spend 10% of what our nearest competitor spends on marketing a year. We don't spend a lot of money on marketing. We've always relied on, like, Mark and I have a really simple motto. It's like, make the best damn pack we possibly can, take care of the customer.
Yeah.
Do those two things.
Yep.
And then you got longevity and everything. Like you said, my business picture is, what does this look like 10 years and 20 years from now? Not how much money can I make this year to inflate the value of my company so I can sell it next year and go do something else or retire.
That's a motto in our companies.
Way different.
Yeah. That's a motto within our companies too. As the same thing, take care of your customers. And the only thing that's different is we say every damn day. It's like, just take care of the customer. Yeah. Make the best product you can, take care of the customer. And word of mouth, I mean, marketing can help you grow, but when you're selling everything you can possibly make, you're asking a bit much.
Yeah. Yep.
But I switch gears. Like, this goes back to a little bit more product testing and everything, but I just want to hear a little bit more about and talk about the moose hunt, the Alaska
Experience Project.
Experience Project. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is the podcast we're talking about, Experience Project. Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah. So that was just a vision of mine a year ago. Mark and I have been very, very fortunate through the Hunt Backcountry podcast. We've had a lot of amazing guests on, and we've learned a lot. And we are very critical of our gear and hunting strategies. And like on my personal side of life, like 2000 through 2010, I was a mediocre hunter. I was. I mean, I kill elk every year, but I busted my butt to do it. I had to hunt the whole month of September. Sometimes I'd get lucky and kill one early, but I busted my butt. I'd occasionally kill a deer. And I'm like looking at guys, like Russ Myers, a good friend of mine. I don't know if you know Russ. He's to me, he's like a local legend around here. Just a killer. Like every time he comes, it's like early days of like Facebook posting on or whatever. And every time Russ goes on a hunt, he comes back and something's dead. Like, and it's like it's a nice mature animal. Like, God, people are hunting better than I am. Like, what's going on? So I was on a personal quest to just become a better hunter.
Right.
And so like through the podcast and through my own experiences, and I was very intentional about going and hunting with like other people. Like, oh, you're a good hunter. Can I come tag along?
Yeah.
Like just basically invite myself along on a hunt. Like, I'll just pack. I'll just be a part of it. I don't need to hunt. And so I learned a lot. And then frankly, got pretty dang efficient.
Yeah.
Like Mark and I were talking about it since 2016. This is not to brag, but we can only think of one hunt we've been on where we didn't leave the truck and kill an animal.
All right.
One hunt.
Really?
And all that time.
Yeah.
And it's when to say that, like, we do 2 to 3 hunts a year because Mark
Right.
lives in Missouri. So we go to Alaska, or he comes out to Idaho or whatever. But we've just been like 99%.
Yeah.
We leave the truck, and whether it's a 24-hour trip or a 7-day trip, we come back with an animal dead.
Yeah.
And we're not trophy guys. We kill some nice stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I guess I felt like we had a lot to offer. We were talking about the podcast, and just you were talking about the origin story of like trying to condense, like, we've just because we talked about something 10 years ago, we just assume people know it. It's like, okay, let's pretend nobody knows anything about us, and let's condense everything we've learned into this project called the Experience Project. And so we just went through last year. I did a 1-hour YouTube video on shoes.
Yeah.
I stood behind a desk and talked about what I've learned in footwear for 1 hour. And I highly recommend you go watch it because there's a lot of really good information in there about.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, just on YouTube.
I've not seen that yet.
Just everything I've learned about footwear. And I'm not a leather boot guy. It's just like, so I'm pretty anti like heavy leather stiff boot. That's what I found for my feet.
Right.
But there's a lesson, like, pretty sure I start off the video saying, like, if your feet hurt, you need to do something about it. Like, because that's footwear and backpacks. Those are the 2 most important things on an entire hunt as far as gear is concerned.
Absolutely.
I mean, your weapon's obviously a big thing, but that's kind of a separate category to me.
It's almost the easy button though. The gun is easy. I can solve that problem for a guy in about 20 minutes with money.
Yeah. But footwear and packs are the 2, they got to fit your body. They got to work for you. They got to work for your foot shape. They got to work for your lower back, your spine shape. So we took footwear very seriously, covered a lot there, went through tents and sleeping systems, and just like pick the top 10 gear categories of what's going in your pack, talked about it, did the whole series on small calibers with Form, talking about becoming more efficient, more lethal hunters. So there was just a lot in that.
Just to highlight that one though, folks, that's one that Steve and Mark did with Form. And Form that's his what do you call it? Like a screen name on Rockslide.
Yeah, it's Rockslide.
He doesn't even use his own name anywhere, right?
No.
Okay, we just do it. He's one of those operator guys that just doesn't need to know his name, but highly intelligent, and the knowledge he had. I highly recommend, and I'll find the note, put it in the show notes of which episodes are, because you guys have like what are you got to be, how many podcasts have you guys recorded now?
Oh, total hunt back. Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know. It's hundreds and hundreds. 10 years. I mean, it goes back to 2016's first time.
Yeah. So I'll try to help you out and find it, because you could be looking for a long time. But the whole idea with the small caliber thing is, the large for caliber, but small caliber rounds, so that as a shooter, you can shoot, you're going to shoot them more accurately. Just essentially, like, I've always found that for me, every 6.5 Creedmoor I've owned outshoots every 300 Win Mag I've ever owned. And it's always bugged me. And then I finally realized that I finally had to acknowledge I don't shoot a 300 Win Mag as well as I do a 6.5.
That's not easy for guys to admit.
Yeah.
It's not. That's the biggest problem here is ego.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'd shoot that. Or I'll see some guy post online like, oh, my daughter can shoot a 300 Win Mag. Yeah. You should be able to, you big giant, wuss.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, there's nobody out there that shoots a 300 Win Mag better than a 6.5 Creedmoor. It doesn't exist. Yeah. And the number one thing of you pull the trigger and the animal doesn't die is that bolt didn't go where you wanted it to go.
Exactly.
And 99% of the time, that's your fault.
Yep.
So let's just bring down the recoil, find a manageable, like, to get into the specific cartridge is silly to me.
It is.
It's informed. We talk about this, but I don't think we did a great job communicating. It's really just getting down to a class of recoil, like under 12 foot-pounds of recoil. And then you just start shooting a lot better. So whether it's a 243 or a 6 Creedmoor or a 6.5 Creedmoor or 25 Creedmoor, there's a million options out there. None of it matters. Like some of them are inherently more accurate, like a 6.5. I mean, you're kind of like, I'm not a super rifle nut, so when I'm talking through this, I'm kind of half assing it here. But some of them have inherent designs in the case design and how the chamber is built and stuff that they're going to be more accurate.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 6.5 Creedmoors off the shelf from Cabela's are damn accurate guns.
Very much.
And a lot of that's in how the cartridge case is designed.
Yeah.
But you just shoot them better, and you just start making better shots, and animals start dying. So I had been
no matter how small, no matter how big the animal is.
Yeah.
That's the thing that, these guys went to Alaska. Not to jump ahead a little bit, but to jump ahead anyways. And you guys killed 3 moose, 3 caribou, and 2 goats. Was that the head count?
So 4 caribou, 4 moose,
4
2
caribou,
goats.
4 and 2 goats.
But not all with the 6 Creedmoor. We had some other guns in there.
Yeah, but all the moose, right? Or no, at least
just two of the moose.
Two of the moose with a 6 Creedmoor 107, 108
108 ELDM.
108 ELDM Hornady match bullet.
Yeah,
and killing a moose and
quickly
and humanely killing an Alaskan Yukon moose,
not
a Shiras moose. I mean, this is the biggest. It is the biggest big game animal in North America, right? Yeah, no, it is the Alaskan Yukon moose, biggest thing in North America.
Yeah. So my backstory was I'd actually met Form a couple of years back, and spent some time with him doing another project, and then simultaneously he's posting on Rockslide on it's kind of an infamous 223 thread now on there, where it just goes for pages and pages and pages, and it's funny to go back and start at the beginning because some people are posting about like, hey, I'm killing animals with this and I was doing a really good job, and people are like, oh, you're crazy, that's unethical, blah blah blah. And then now it's like, it's taken on its own life where people are realizing how effective they can be. But anyways, I just have a jacked up shoulder. So I was a sophomore in high school, got in a skiing accident, tore my rotator cuff, separated my shoulder, just kind of a mess. And so I just never enjoyed shooting heavy recoiling guns. I just didn't. They just hurt. It just kind of is uncomfortable. So when I started getting into rifles, which isn't that long, like 2016, 2017, I was like, I definitely want a low recoiling rifle. And then I started with a 270 and then went to a 6.5 and then really enjoyed the 6.5 and I shot solid copper bullet, 125 grain bullet and 127 grain bullet, depending on the year, and killed everything I pointed at. Quickly, like one shot kills all the time. The animal takes 10 steps and dies. And then I was like, I want to talk about this on a podcast and just like be more vocal about it and try to convince people that it's a better way to go. And then stumbled on Form doing all his posts. And then so we had him on the podcast, and his wealth of knowledge is so far beyond mine. I mean, I'm complete. Like I know one of, and he knows 1,000, right? And it's a great series, very controversial. Definitely had other people in the industry calling us unethical, and it was very interesting. But then the day I was like, I don't care. Like I just want, I genuinely want less wounded animals out there.
Right.
Like bottom of my heart, want better hunting interactions, more ethical hunters. And at the end of the day, like you're always going to have guys that stretch the limit and stretch the range. And we try to talk about that on the podcast. We get guests on, and it's like, I remember we had Hornady on the podcast and they were very technical talking about stuff. And towards the end of the podcast, I'm like, the more I learn, the shorter my range gets. Like I think I can shoot 600 yards, but after this podcast, I better be like 500 yards and because there's just so many variables that you just can't control. And so I there's some people that are afraid to say like a distance is like, oh, I'm not going to tell you how far you can shoot. Like I'm basically telling 99.99% of you 600 yards is the farthest you should ever shoot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like 100%.
I'm more of a 500 yard guy.
Yeah.
That's where it's at less than 500, everything tends to die.
Yeah.
And then you give me a 10 mile an hour crosswind that I can't really see, and it's going to be a lot less than that. Even.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn my lessons the hard way on that. And, but it's no matter, and unfortunately we have guns that shoot really well from the factory. We've got factory ammo that's better than it's ever been, tighter tolerances than it's ever been. And absolutely, can you go out and shoot a 24-inch plate at 1,000 yards with the first round? Yeah, very doable.
Yep.
Absolutely doable. It's not magic. It doesn't even take a good shooter necessarily to pull that off.
No.
I mean, just you can hold your breath and squeeze. You'll probably be fine. And
we took my friend's son out the other day, and he was smacking target 600 yards first time he shot.
Yeah.
But it was on my gun, all set up. Like literally, I'm dialed. It's on. Everything's perfect. All he's got to do is squeeze the trigger.
Just squeeze the trigger.
Just don't yank the trigger. Just nice slow squeeze. Keep the crosshairs in the center of that target, and you're going to hit it.
It's going to go ding.
Yeah. And that's what's tempting.
It is
about it. Like you guys sponsored by Vortex?
No.
Okay.
Swarovski.
Okay, good. Vortex did. I pick on them for this. They had an ad about like their rangefinders, a long range made easy, and it's like that is terrible. That is freaking terrible. Long range made easy. Just telling people, oh, it's easy to shoot 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Like, not a good marketing ad in my opinion. Sells.
It sells. Yeah. It sells.
Guys see that and go, oh, this sounds great. Well, I can shoot further now. Yeah.
And there's too many guys out there that have, pulled off that shot. They've got, conditions were perfect and everything worked well. But if you really I would be even 9 out of 10 of those guys that said, yeah, I killed this thing at 975 or 8, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, tell me about the conditions. And if it wasn't perfect, I'm like, okay, was it really the first shot or was it the second shot?
Yeah. A lot of
people
go,
yeah, I missed the first shot, but I got, now I got my dope. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is the first shot, you weren't even good enough to wound him. You weren't even good enough to blow his leg off. You weren't even close, I mean, what do you, animals are not target. We don't make them for target practice. That's what steel's for.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's long story. Back to the smaller caliber. Yeah.
So
the experience project.
Small caliber studies. We did backpacking basics. Had some like great hunters on to just talk about mentality, and we talked about training. Just went through everything. Try to condense everything we've learned the last 10 to 15 years into this like summer project. And I got so busy last year with everything else going on, buying the sew shop, and I built a home, which go to a barbecue tomorrow night. Super, super busy. And so I felt like I did like a C- job on that whole project. A lot of people really, really enjoyed it, but what I had envisioned, it was like a C-. Yeah.
I loved it. But I that mentality I get, cause it's just, you have this vision of how you think, but at some point still, you got to hit the print button.
Yeah.
That's what we always say with the magazine is we could work on this for another 6 weeks, but at some point we got to hit the print button because it needs to go.
Yep.
And
so the culmination of all that stuff was like, we're going to go up to Alaska and show you guys, we're going to go hunt and show you how we hunt and what we're doing. And so that's one episode we talked about was just, it's such a tough topic, but mental, like building confidence and mental toughness, and they're not easy to talk about. They're not easy to do.
Right.
It takes time. It's just something you chip away at. But I was like, we're going to go 10 for 10 for this year. Like, guarantee you, we're going to go 10 for 10. Like, I have that mentality, and it's not arrogance. It's just like, I know I will do whatever it takes. And if we don't get there, I know I left everything out there. But 99% of the time it works for us.
Right.
And so getting to that point, as a hunter, it takes some time. But yeah, we went up there, we went on a caribou hunt, actually went to some country that I sheep hunted a couple years back, and had an amazing, went in there and killed 4 caribou really quickly, and had it was the funnest hunt I've ever done in my life.
Really?
All 4 of us, me, Justin, Mark, and my buddy, Jeff Bloomquist, went on this hunt, and just the funnest hunt we've ever done.
Really? When did you go? Was that what time?
In August. Yeah, in August. Had generally beautiful weather for Alaska, just giant 4,000 foot mountains you're climbing up and down. Like every hunt to me, back up a little bit, like Mark and I call ourselves experienced hunters. Like I'm not a mule deer guy. I'm not an elk guy. I'm backpacking guy. That's what I am. And so whatever, like backpacking to me is like adventure and the unknown, and just exploring. And so whatever hunt like lays that out for me, then I'm all in. And so this hunt was all of that combined. Like we flew in, we had pack rafts, we had 30 miles of river before we get picked up, and then we went in and killed just 4 beautiful caribou. Jeff's was Boone and Crockett bull, mine was just shy of it. Justin's was just below mine, and Mark's was the only like really nice bull, but not massive. And then we got back. By the time we had we had like a mini death hike just on that hunt of like in a couple days we did, I don't know how many miles, just shuttling rafts and getting meat and getting antlers. And then we had the river flood on us. And so you just kind of had these adversities and just fun stuff. Yeah.
It's the last frontier for a reason.
There was the river. It was like higher than spring runoff for whatever. We still don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a crazy storm or if a glacier bursted or whatever, like a glacier dam. And we had just like, we know that we were going to bed, and we're camped in like you could tell a high water little river bank, but we're 2 feet above the river, and it's in August, like the river's not coming up. And then as we're going to bed, we're like, river looks like it came up a little bit, and we're looking like it's still got to go like 18 inches to get to our tent. Like we're fine. And then we woke up, and I make fun of Jeff to this day because he woke up and he just yelled water, like the tent was on fire or something, But it's 3 a.m. You're in Alaska, and water's running through the bottom of our tent because we were just using a Hilleberg shell and then sleeping in bivy sacks. And sure enough, water's running through the bottom of our tent, and the river had just rose over in the middle of the night, just like absolutely crazy. And we scramble, we're running around, and luckily I told Justin, get the camera out, you got to video this. So we got a little bit of it, and then get all of our gear packed up onto the bank above us. And then I look back, and I run a Night Force rifle scope, and I see a Night Force logo just like underneath the ripples of the wave, because my gun had been laying next to me. And I pulled it up out of the water, and the next day it was just full of silt, and I had to tear the whole thing apart when I got back home to get it going again. But yeah, we ended up, and then the day we packed up to head out was just, we were basically like, it's like, if we didn't make it out that day, it was like delaying flights, and you know, and it's like, it was just, we were all nervous. We like packed a raft upstream, and then Justin and I got in the boat because we had like, well, Jeff had quite a bit of paddling experience, and I'm right behind him. But we went upstream and did like a test run, like go back down to camp, like how's this going to handle? And it was like, I think we got this, and we were nervous as hell. Like I was trying to be confident.
How far did you have to float?
So 30 miles.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. But we were just trying to. We didn't think we could make all the way that night because this is like 4:00. Yeah. But we was like, we got to make some ground so the next morning we can get out and get picked up. We ended up just going full send, and it was like we had a whole strategy planned out. Like I was in the lead, Jeff was staying in the back because Mark had no paddling experience. He came out in the summer, so we're using the alpaca pack rafts, which were freaking amazing, by the way. We put all the meat inside the tubes. It's a hard concept to grasp until you actually get to see it and use it in hand. But they were amazing.
Really.
Makes me want to utilize them in like hunts in Idaho. Like, okay, where's there a river system I've never thought about? But we had a whole thing planned out. I was way in the front and just kind of scouting the river. And we had the first like 3-4 miles was just like S turns and literally waves 6-foot troughs. Like we're in this little pack raft, just like all the way in the bottom of the trough, water's going over your head. Like it was sporting coming out. And we got none of that on video because Justin had the camera was in a dry bag and the GoPro was down at the airstrip we had got dropped off at. So none of that's on video, unfortunately. And then once we got out to the main river, it got wide and just fast. So I think we took off at like 4. That's in the video. But made it out that night by like 10:00.
Oh, really?
30 miles.
30 miles in 6 hours.
Just cruising. Yeah. But what an adventure. I stopped and pulled my cell phone out and videoed Mark because he just got this grin ear to ear. He's like, I didn't know this was the bucket list hunt for me, but this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Adventure.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned, it's on YouTube and it's on what's it? Is it the
so Exo Mtn Gear?
Exo Mtn Gear?
Yeah, just Exo Mtn Gear on YouTube, and then I think you can definitely search like Experience Project videos. It'll pop up. So we did that hunt, got home safe and sound, and then following right up in September was a moose hunt. We had 4 guys. So Justin and I went on that. So Justin's one of my employees here. He's also incredibly talented guy. He built this room we're standing in. Yep. He videos everything, edits everything. Incredibly talented guy. So we went back with Tyler Boschma, and another friend of ours, Dan, that does the death hike with us every year. And I had got some industry friends that told me about this area. Like they hunted like 10 miles north of us the year prior and had a really good hunt. And he's like, if I'd go back, I'd check out this area. So I'm like, let's go do it. Yeah. And he's like, there was definitely some bears there, but we're like, okay, like I'm starting to get pretty comfortable. Get up to Alaska every year, and the first couple trips you're just on edge the whole time. And now I'm like, it's not like hunting Idaho, but I'm not near as like, I'm not afraid for my life every second. And then that moose hunt was incredible. We ended up getting dropped off on a lake, took the pack rafts, hiked them 5 miles up this small river that fed into it, and that river's just full of salmon. Like at times you could walk across the top of the water on salmon, and
bear bait.
Bear bait. And we quickly feel like down by the lake, there's like, oh, there's a bear over there and there's one over there, but it wasn't like swarmed with them. And then once we the more we got in there, which just getting in there was, we have like 90-pound packs and you're going into your knee like muck, and man, that was brutal. That was like one of the worst. It was a pack in, but it was like a brutal pack out.
Because you're packing rafts
on
your back at that point.
And the rafts are, the ones we have are like 12 pounds, but then you've got waders and oars and pumps, and there's kind of a repair kit, the kind of stuff. I bet you get close to 20 pounds by the time. You could make them lighter if you really wanted to, but this was like a pretty good durable setup that we could also get moose out with. So the game plan was amazing. Like hike in there with these rafts, hunt around this base camp area, and then float the moose back out to the lake, and it worked beautifully. Yeah. The only downside was we were running into bears every 5 seconds. Yeah. Like they were.
I saw that episode. Yeah. I'd be freaked out at some point. You're just like, okay, I've had enough of these bears.
We were kind kind of, there's some like, I don't know, call them foothills, but just kind of some rolling hills, and then it dropped down, and then there's the river, and then there's just a big flat on the other side of it. But we'd climb up the hills, and then you could just see, whenever you're up there glassing the flats, you just look down and there's a bear, there's a bear, there's a bear. It's like, we called it the gauntlet at one point, because it was like, just, if you were going to walk the riverbank, I mean, it was just like every 100 yards, you're going to see a bear, and it's going to be close.
Yeah.
And eventually, we're super nervous at first, and then Tyler killed a bull pretty quick when we got it cut up, and then he killed it, and it died right next to the river. And then we ended up, those like Bashma and Dan, they're just unbelievable. They killed the moose, and then we packed all the gear, and they put the entire moose in a raft and then drug it upstream for 2 miles to get to this other camp so we could keep hunting, instead of like taking the easier out and floating it out. Like, like talking about doing like whatever we got to do to kill 4 moose, like we're going to do it. So he's packing a moose upstream 2 miles by literally wading waist deep in the river, and we're surrounded by bears. Dan has at one point he's doing a selfie video with Tyler, and he's watching it later the night in the tent, and there's a bear like 20 yards behind him, just following up the bank.
Just with his nose in the air.
Yeah.
Like,
what's that?
Yeah.
But we could see Tyler's kill site the next day, and just none of the bears were on it. So we're like, oh, okay, I guess they're just so fat and happy on salmon. Yeah. So we kind of like laid back. We'll relax a little bit more. And then I think the next day, Dan killed a moose behind camp, and then it started like, we started hearing bears fight in the middle of the night and stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, okay, they're starting to fight over the meat. And then they packed, we had 2 moose down. So it was like the next day they floated all the meat out to get picked up by a plane. Cause we basically, once we had 2 moose down, we were calling the plane.
It's an entire plane load.
Yeah, an entire plane load. Beaver came out and picked it up. And then Justin and I were hunting solo, and we ended up seeing my bull that we killed like way out in the distance, like 3 miles away. And it's almost like in that country there, when we were moving camp, I remember in the video, I'm like, we got to go 800 yards. This is going to take us hours.
Yeah.
Hours. Yeah. Something that would, I mean, at home, I hike at 4 miles an hour on a dirt trail, right? Like if I want to move, this is 800 yards and hours, like just unbelievably slow and hard and brushy. And so there's this moose out there like 3 miles away. Like, I don't think we could get there today. Yeah. I mean, that sounds insane to me. Like anywhere else, like I'll be there in an hour. Yeah. You know, we just did this on a bear hunt a couple weeks ago. Justin saw a bear, and it was a good 3 miles away, and we humped it over there and killed that thing. Yeah. This was like, I don't think we can get there, but we ended up killing it right at dark, got to it, and then packing back. We packed back that night, and we deboned the moose, got it all ready to go. It was going to rain, so we had a Tyvek tarp, put it over. We each grab a bag of meat. We hike back. It's like 1:30 in the morning, and we know we got to hike the gauntlet, which it's like, that's intense. It's just 2 of us. And we know between us and camp is at least 10 bears in this 1 mile stretch, at least 10 bears.
And you're going to be walking within 50 feet, right?
Oh, easy. I mean, so the problem was the grass is chest high. Yeah. And so it's either you're in the river, which it's 1:30 in the morning. We had to cross the rivers in our underwear and Crocs. And that was cold enough. And then you get on the bank, and there's bear trails, but they're 12 inches wide, and the grass is chest high on each side of it. And we're actually crossing the river. There's a super cool moment where the salmon were attracted to the headlamp, and we're like trekking poles. And I'm like, Justin, this is amazing. Like looking down, just salmon like bumping into my legs. And it was just a crazy moment. Really? And then I think when I said that, what did we call that bear? Sometimes
you're naming the bears at this point.
Yeah, we're naming the bear because there's this real big dominant boar.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name at the moment. Foamy.
Foamy.
Yeah, Foamy, because he always had foam coming out of his mouth. And we knew he was hanging out on this bend, and it's like right where we're crossing. And then we're in the middle of the river, and it's, we're 15, 20 feet from the bank, and just hear him going, just growling at us. And it's like, holy crap. Yeah. No, thanks, but we still
Did
just
a little bit of pee come out.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
Oh gosh. So we cross. We end up crossing, make it back to camp without any more events. Like everything must have been asleep 100 yards away from the river or something. And then I put. We didn't have the bear fence because Tyler somehow they ended up taking it. I think I can't remember what happened to the bear. We had 2 bear fences, one at the main lake and one that was supposed to come up with us, but for some reason we didn't have it. It didn't set up. We got like camp so late. I think we just threw the meat down. But I threw the meat right next to the tent because that was what I had talking with a lot of guys of their experience with that. Like they kind of want the meat close to the tent because it's at least going to keep the bears away. Right. Well, I wake up at 3, 4 in the morning with a bear like rubbing its nose on the tent fly. I'm in a hill dark by myself and just hear him just like right there, like breathing on the fly, and just holding a pistol on my chest, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. What do you do? Do you say something and scare him?
I just kept quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was almost afraid to, like, he's so close that an alarming sound would have been like, he would have reacted to it. So I just, and eventually he kind of scuffled around, and then I heard him kind of breaking through the bushes like an hour later, and he was trying to get to the meat, but it was right next to the tent, and he wasn't quite brave enough.
Yeah.
So then we wake up, we slept in, we were pretty tired, like 10 o'clock. Those guys I was like the night before, I'm like, hey, moose down. And Tyler and Dan are like humping it back to come meet us and help us. But we're like, well, I think we can go make a trip before they get back. So we go, and that day was just raining sideways with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And we ran into, this is on video, we ran into Old Foamy on that same bend in the river, where we're in our underwear and Crocs on the bank, getting ready to step in the river and cross. And then I look up, Justin's in front of me, and I look up and Old Foamy's there at like 15 feet.
Jeez.
And the wind's blowing straight at us. So he can't smell us, and he can't hear us, like, because it's so noisy.
Yeah.
You're just getting blown backwards. Just yelling at him. He just didn't care.
Yeah.
So he walks up on the bank, and then he starts coming towards us, and Justin drops the camera, and luckily it stays pointed kind of towards the bear, so you see it a little bit. And Justin's like, when do we shoot? And I'm just like pistol this whole knob. And, like, I'm sure if you're an Alaskan guide, you're kind of laughing at it. Like, you guys are wusses. Like, we do this every day, But for us, it's a scary experience, You got a giant brown bear that's pissed off at 15 feet.
Yeah.
Not pissed off, but like didn't care about you.
Right.
They just, it's
didn't respect you at all.
Didn't respect you at all. Yeah. All my other Alaska hunts with grizzly bears and encounters, like, in general, they smell you and they booger out of there. We've had a couple bears that were kind of curious and come within a couple 100 yards, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
And then we go get my moose, come back, meet the guys, and we stage the raft and stuff up there where, like, that bend in the river Old Foamy was. They meet us there. We make another trip, get all the meat. So we're exhausted. We've done, the night before we get out at 1:30. It's a 3-mile trek up there and back. We'd already done one trip. Then we did another trip, and we get back and it's right at dark. And we had one alpaca raft. I blow it up, and I am like, I literally just filled the whole raft with meat, and I'm sitting on top of the meat. And I'm like, I'm going to row this back to camp. It's a mile down there. But I was like, it's getting dark. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm just going to go as slow as I can, as back row the whole time as you guys are walking the bank. So I'm with you. Well, I get in the river, and it's just going too fast. I'm like, fuck. So I just start paddling as fast as I can. Like, I'm just going to get this over with. Yeah. And as I'm rolling into camp, so my meat from the night before was sitting out, but we hadn't been in camp all day. I'm rolling into camp, and I hear bears fighting. And they're like, I hear two bears. I hear bears fighting, and I can't see them. But then I look to my right, and there's another bear at like 20 yards right on the bank of the river, just staring me down. Yeah. And I'm in the middle of the raft. It's cold. Like, I was wearing, I had my rain gear because it was cold enough. So I was just in my underwear with my rain pants over it. And I'm just like, I don't know what I have to do. And the guys are coming down the bank, and they hear the bears fighting, and they know I'm at camp. So they're like, oh crap. Boschma's like, former military guy. So he's like pistol out, hauling ass down the bank, thinking he's going to come, freaking shoot some bear that's mauling me. Yeah. But he gets around the bend, and I literally had jumped off the raft. I'm waist deep in water. It's 30 degrees. I'm freezing. And there's bear right here I'm looking at. And the bank's pretty steep kind of to my left. And they're like, there's a bear right there. I'm like, yeah, I know. I see it. And like, no, there's a bear right there. And I look up, and the bear's just like standing on the riverbank, just staring. Like, if he had a running start, he could have jumped and landed on top of me. And it was camp, and Tyler was like, we got to run these bears off camp. Like, they can't. We got meat in camp. We've got to run them off and scare them off. So we all grabbed pistols and just kind of like ran in. Like, after that night, we called it OK Corral. Like, we had we did some shooting to scare them off once they went off, but we didn't like go in with the gun shooting. Right. But we're not shooting at the bear, but just their direction to scare them off. And one of the bears did not want to leave and stuck around forever. But finally, he ran off, and then 4 of us, we just started making a bunch of noise. Yeah. And real loud.
Eventually worked though. They respect it. Yeah.
And then the next morning we woke up, and Justin, he was so stressed out from all the bears. He was just like, guys, I'm done. Like, he's the only one that hasn't killed a moose yet. But he's like, guys, I'm done. Like, I'm good. I don't need any more bear encounters. I want to go home to my family. Yeah. And Dan, our other buddy, he's a freaking comedian, and he's like, dude, when that plane picks us up, I'm gonna be playing Jurassic Park music in the background, and the bears are gonna be on the beach, like jumping up at the plane. He was hilarious. Yeah. So we ended up floating out, and then as we're going out, this is like a lesson I learned from my buddy Mike hunting. I was talking about earlier about like not giving up on a hunt.
Right.
Like I used to, if I go hunt and then it's like, okay, I'm hiking away from the truck for the day, and okay, at the time I turn around, like, nope, haven't killed anything, I'm gonna hike back to the truck. I just put my head down and hike back to the truck. Whether that's half a mile or 3 miles, just kind of like, nope, hunt's over.
Yeah.
And my buddy Mike would be like, we hunted Nevada, we hunted the Jarbridge together in 2008. And I learned this from him, and he ended up killing a buck on this hunt where it's like, oh, okay, we're done. We're going to start heading back to the truck, but what's the best path back to the truck that's going to put me in an opportunity to kill an animal? Not trace my steps back or take the easy route. What's the best path? Like, what's going to get me on an animal? So it's a lesson I've learned, and I've applied that to all my hunts ever since then. And you're amazed at how many animals you kill.
Yeah, the way
just
back.
Don't give up on a hunt. Mm-hmm. And just putting yourself in a place like to be lucky.
Right.
And it's just like not just, you're like, okay, I'm kind of done. I'm heading back. But how, like, if I'm going to kill an animal, where's this going to happen? Yeah. And if it means I got to like drop down 1,000 feet and climb 1,000 feet instead of taking the road out, that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
So we're floating out, and I see this mound that's like, guys, we need to stop here and like go just jump on top of this and glass and look, like this looks like a place we could camp. And we pulled over. And then Justin quickly realized, he's like, hey, this is the mound we saw from way back upriver, and there was a moose like on the other side. Sweet. All right, so we set up camp real quick. We had all my moose meat, and it was supposed to rain, so we spent a bunch of time cutting alders and making a tarp over it and putting the bear fence around it. And then Justin and Dan go, they're like, we're going to go head up to the knob and just go glass. And all right, great. Tyler and I are like making coffee. We're like, we'll be up there in a little bit. And then Dan comes running back like 5 minutes later, like, moose doing the big old antler symbol. And we're like, what the hell? And we thought like moose in the distance.
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, no, there's a moose like on the other side of the knob at like 400 yards.
Oh, geez.
And
Perfect.
so we scramble over there, and Justin, we were using a really right stuff tripod with my, I told you about that anvil head.
Yeah.
This is great for shooting off of. And with my little 6 Creedmoor, I have an MDT chassis, so it just balances so well on that thing. And we put it on, and the moose was like 400 yards, and it was like, yeah, he's definitely over 50 inches. And Justin shot and smoked him. Bull died in like 30 seconds. And, and then we were just like out of our minds elated. Just like the biggest group hug, just high-fiving. Yeah. Justin's crying.
That's 4 for 4 at that point.
4 for 4 on moose. Yeah. Like we had just gone 4 for 4 on caribou.
And how many days? We're like hunting days.
7
days of hunting. Yeah.
It was, we were basically killing every other day and packing. The guys that sent us on the guys that done the hunt were like, there's no way. They were making bets. Like, there's no way they're going to kill 4. It's not possible. You can't physically do it. You can't pack it out. And
the physical part is,
but
killing is easy.
I mean, obviously you do the rim to rim hike every year, and we've been doing the death hike, which, we've done the rim to rim last couple of years. And just that prepares you.
It does.
It does. It just, you go to, and you have the ability to go to another level. And it's not, I don't know how that comes across to somebody listening to this, but like, I know if I got to hike 50 miles in a day, I can do it because I've done it multiple times.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of put my mindset there of like, okay, it's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
We had Boschma came up, on that hunt. We always we usually come up with like little sayings or something like that. But this one was like, hey guys, we're chopping wood. We're chopping wood this hunt. There's just going to be a grind.
Yeah.
There's going to be freaking hard. Come into you got a mountain of wood to chop, and you're going to sit there for the next 7 days and one swing at a time. And that was our mentality. Like we kept, if anyone was getting tired, like, no, man, we're chopping wood. It's going to be hard. Just be ready for it. Be mentally prepared.
Yeah. Just getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Such a simple saying but that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. I talk a lot in my personal gear philosophy of guys. We had a guy, Andrew Skirka, on the podcast, and he's a famous backpacker, like through distance, like crazy 1,000 miles and stuff like that. And in his experience, he said most people's problems is they pack their fears. Mm-hmm. And it's always stuck with me. Like packing your fears. Like that's what everybody does. They're so afraid to be slightly cold or just uncomfortable at all that they just start packing all this crap. And And just from my experience,
I love that phrase, pack your fears.
Being, one, you just got to get okay with something. You're going to be a little cold. You're going to be a little hot. You're not going to sleep well. Like, this is just kind of part of the process, and just being okay with that. And then and then you plan your gear a little bit different.
Right.
And yeah, in my experience, just, I like running around with a lightweight pack. Like, I hunt better.
Yeah.
We put camp on our back pretty much every single day. This moose hunt's like an exception where we set up a base camp, but it's pretty much we pack up camp and we hunt, and you get the freedom that allows. And that's been huge in our efficiency and killing animals, just because we can just go wherever we need to go. And it's like through death hike experience and building mental toughness and having the fitness to do it. Like, there's no like, oh, we're too far from the truck now. I mean, certainly there's like, okay, it's 90 degrees. This can't be a 2-day pack out. We got to stay within, 5 miles or something. But for the most part, if the weather allows, it's like, there's no limit. Just go hunt wherever the animals are. So, so killed the 4 moose, went back, had to spend a couple days at the lake. Plane couldn't come get us because of weather. And then we got home, and then Mark, and Justin were supposed to go on a mountain goat hunt. So that was going to be the final hunt of the whole series. And then I'm buying the sew shop, and that was closing. Just how it worked out, I tried to avoid it, but it was closing like when we were on the hunt. Like, I can't be gone. So I sent Jake instead, who's one of our fantastic employees. He's been with us since he's 16 years old, and he's busting his butt right now. So he's the one coordinating the entire golf tournament. Yeah,
don't tell him the whole story, because Jake's promised. I don't know. I haven't asked him since I've been here, but he's promised to write the story for Western Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to give him the get out of jail free on the first issue to let him know that he's going to have a couple more, probably another 6 weeks to get it done. But I don't want to let him off the hook, because the story is really good.
Yeah, it's great.
The fear of heights and
So I sent Jake in my place, but I knew he was afraid of heights.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of funny in how I work sometimes. And when I'll think about something, and then I just make a decision.
Yeah.
So at the old office, I popped out of the bathroom, and we always joke, because Jake's office door, which was a closet, was right across from the bathroom. He got to hear everything that happened in the bathroom. But I popped out and like, Jake, are you still afraid of heights? And he's like, yeah, so. I'm like, okay. And I just walked away.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the heck was he talking?
Yeah.
Like, why is he asking me that? Because I was like, I'm going to send Jake on this hunt in my place. And then the next day I was like, I think I'm going to send you on the goat hunt. Can you want to do it? You're afraid of heights still? I was like, talk to Mark, because he's done the hunt before. It's extreme. But Jake was like, nope, I'm going to do it. And he's got legit, like, he had issues on the Grand Canyon hike this year on the North Rim there's a lot of exposure there, but he gutted through it. And so won't finish the story other than they went 2 for 2 and killed 2 great goats. And then, so for the whole project, it was 10 for 10 and just amazing. It couldn't have, gone better. Frankly, it was amazing. And we were trying to,
it's a great story. Yeah. It's the whole thing.
We wanted to replicate, but do the Experience Project 2.0 and do it this year. And like, I don't know how we could. Mark kind of talked about the podcast. Like, how do you top that? Like,
I was holding my breath, seeing if you're going to actually say something, because I'm like, I don't know how you do it either.
I don't know. Yeah. So other than going back to like, we're experienced hunters, like putting yourself in a position to have adventure. Yeah. And Alaska is like the premium spot to do that, where you just kind of. Just like in business, you want to start a business, you want to start a backpack company, you want to start a hunting television show or magazine. Like, you got to do it. Yeah. I have this mentality of, like I was just talking about, like, once I make a decision, I'm in. Yeah. There's no like dip my toe in the water. Right. It's like, nope, full speed, jumping off this cliff. And if I land on my feet or I land on my head, that's going to happen. But at least I jumped.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I love about the whole idea of the Experience Project. It's not just your guys displaying your experience, but your hunting experiences, because it really is. We kind of alluded on it when I was on your podcast. I alluded to that's where we've come so full circle, because that's where we're at now. I mean, guys have gotten, because of hunting magazines, because of including Western Hunter, and because of applications and websites, the information that's available, drawing that super cool tag that's real quote high quality. The reality is, folks, it ain't gonna happen for you. I mean, you're gonna get lucky, and I get it. You can't win if you don't play. And I remember Garth Carter started. They started that saying, apply. Well, honestly, it's come down to, hey, waste your money, because you're probably not going to draw.
Yeah.
Let me keep saying it. This is what, and do we really hunt? Because do you really, really, really hunt because you want to kill a 200-inch mule deer? Is that really, or is it the experience?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, most people can remember the first deer they killed and can tell that story with enthusiasm and just pure joy on their face. Guarantee it wasn't a 200-inch mule deer, but that's not what they remember. It's like being a, adventure hunter, experience hunter. It's what we started doing. It's why we fell in love with hunting in the first place. And somewhere along the line with social media and record keeping and brag boards, we somehow, if you don't kill a big thing and put it on social media, too many guys feel like they're lesser of a man because of that. And I'm like, no, this is where, go after the adventure. That's why we did it.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I said. I've always said, like, I would take a 150-inch buck with my bow in the high country every day of the year over 200-inch buck shot off a 4-wheeler. Like not even a question in my mind.
Right.
Like, zero chance I would, if you gave me the option between the two.
Yeah.
I could care less about shooting something off a 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
Not to say that, I guess as long as you're hunting legally and ethically, I don't care.
Right.
If that's what you want to do and fine, like get out and have fun. I used to, I was a hardcore archery guy, so I made fun of rifle hunters for years. Like, they're not real hunters and stuff like that. And now it's just like, you know what, just go out and have fun and enjoy it, whatever that means to you. I'm just trying to express what hunting means to me and share that. Yeah.
Just we had, this is back 25 years ago. So Floyd, my hunting partner, he had a trophy tag up in northern Arizona. And there was like 8 of us that were up there to help him. We were like the original gang hunters, man. We were, because it was a super cool hunt and we all wanted to go. So we were spread out on this rim. And we've all got radios. We're just like, no, we're not ashamed of anything, man. We got all the cool gear of that day, that time. And here comes this Jeep tooling along, and some of the guys gets on the radio and says, oh yeah, it's those guys. They've just been road hunting in here forever. A couple old guys, and sure enough, they're tooling along. I'm just seeing there's deer all over down there, and all of a sudden they slam on the brakes. We're watching them. We're about a mile away, and guy gets out and he shoots a 2-point. And this is a big time trophy hunt. He shoots a 2-point, and he gets out and they're all high-fiving. There's 3 guys. They're high-fiving and just having a ball. So anyways, we're all like, we get back to the rig, we're all talking, everybody's standing around, everybody's like, can you believe those guys, come up here and shoot a 2-point, and they're high-fiving, and the one guy in the group that was the worst trophy hunter, the most obsessed trophy hunter, the guy that wanted to be famous more than anybody in the room, he goes, hey, wait a minute, those guys did exactly what we're here to do. They went out there and they hunted together. They had a good time. They shot a deer they were stupid happy with. So leave them alone.
Yeah.
The rest of us are like,
oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Point taken. You're right. Yeah. We're about as hypocritical as we can get. But I always think back on that story. Like, that's what they came out here to accomplish, and they did it. And they're to this day, those guys remember that story.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they probably, that 2-point's probably up in the garage wall somewhere, and they sit around and, in their man cave and drink a beer and retell that story to everybody that comes by. Anyways, well, man, we've been going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Half,
yeah. So, Steve and I could do this if he's got 800 episodes of this podcast, we could do this 800 times because there's just that much to talk about and tell. But anyways, I just wanted to thank Steve. We're super excited to be working with Exo. You're going to see a lot more. I hope you see a lot more collaboration, because it's just coming here and seeing what you're doing, the people you have, the skills, the talent, the capability, and the capacity. There's just, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully we won't grow too fast.
Nice, manageable, easy growth, organic growth.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, thank you for listening, and we'll hear from you soon. Well, that wraps up this episode of Western Hunter Podcast. Thank you for listening. If you would, please go to iTunes or any other platform that you're listening to this podcast on and leave us a review. Apparently that makes a big difference in helping people find our podcast, and I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you're enjoying the show, not enjoying the show, topics you'd like us to cover, maybe people that you want to hear from. We're always looking for new and different, interesting conversations, so feel free to email me. Send that directly to chris@westernhunter.net. Our sponsorships are huge. Sponsorships are important. It's the only way we can keep going. So for more information on Browning ammunition, Browning guns, you can go to browning.com. Check out that speed line of clothing. You won't regret it. Thanks again for listening, folks. We'll be back in a couple weeks.